Now we're going to talk a little bit about how the bass notes really define the pattern. So the first basic thing to do bass note-wise is to do what's called a boom chuck pattern. We already talked about just the straight single bass note, chord, single bass note, chord. So the next step beyond that is to add the 5 of the chord. The process is to think, here are the notes of the C chord. We're going to take away the middle note, which is built on the 3rd note up from that, and we're going to use notes 1 and 5 of that chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, notes 1, 5. But in order to have it sound even more boom chucky, we're going to put the 5 below in this octave instead of that one. So our bass pattern now becomes 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. And if you want to get fancy, you can walk back up. Walk up to 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. Walk back to 1. And that's your basic country western boom chuck pattern, and that's a good way to just start playing any song right away, is to add that boom chuck. And then as you change chords, you can walk up to them and then walk back down. So if you want to get fancy, give that a try. But meanwhile, basic boom chuck, you take the 1 and the 5 of the chord, take away the middle note, put the 5 below, and alternate between those 2 notes. Remember to always start on the 1 note, or the note that's the name of the chord, because that's what you always want to hear to anchor the sound in the chord itself. So with the boom chuck pattern, right, so the right hand's doing the chords in between the boom and the chuck of the bass. Okay, got that? Okay, so that's the basic boom chuck, and again, we're doing this all with a C chord, but this applies to whatever chord you're using, because you're building the bass parts out of the notes of the chord. So the next bass pattern to try is the cowboy bass, and just like the previous one, it uses the 1 and the 5 of the chord, takes away the 3, and it's going to add the 6. So your notes are 1, 5 of the chord, and adding a neighborhood note, the 6. And the pattern is this: 1, 5, 6, 5, 1, 5, 6, 5. Recognize that pattern? It's been in many a cowboy movie. I'm going to use bad fingering again so you can see the keys a little better. So use whatever fingerings are comfortable for you. And the secret with the cowboy bass is to let the bass be really solid and use the right hand chords kind of off the first beat, so it sounds more like a filler. So again, my process was 1, 5, 6, 5 in the left hand, and then accents on the C chord, and I actually added the 6th note, that neighborhood note, in the right hand chord too. That gives it that kind of cowboy sound. Oh yeah! And I actually had put the C note on top in the right hand to give it a little bit of a more vocal sound. And again, this is all still thinking about the C chord notes, but with a neighborhood note added. The next step would be the easy boogie bass, which uses 1, 3, 5 of the chord and the C chord, and adding the neighborhood note of 6. So the easy boogie is just solid, straight on the beat notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the right hand, meanwhile, can accent. Now let me show you what happens if you play the right hand on the same downbeats, or the beat number 1. It sounds a little more square if I'm hitting it straight on beat 1 and 3. So in order to make it sound a little more laid back and easygoing, I play the chord off the main beat. So not on beat 1 and not on beat 3. I can even syncopate it a little bit. So that's one of the secrets, is to have a very heavy, steady left-hand bass, very much like lead boots, walking in the heavy boots. And the right hand is more accent and light. So there's your easy boogie bass using 1, 3, 5, and the 6 added. Now the advanced boogie is if you have a little more time on your chord to stay on your chord, and you can play that 1, 3, 5, 6, and add a flat 7, which is a half step up here from the 6, and then go back down again. 6, 5, 3, and it really, the pattern ends on the 3, and then you begin again on the 1. 1, 3, 5, 6, flat 7, 6, 5, 3, start again. 1, 3, 5, 6, flat 7, 6, 5, 3. And again, you can add the accents in the right hand. And I'm playing this really slow so you can get the idea. And always remember, if you have something added to the basic chord in the bass part, you can also add that in your right hand. So if I've added this B flat note or the flat 7 note in the bass pattern, I can always add that to the right hand chord as well. Okay, so we've covered the boom chuck, the cowboy bass, the easy boogie, and the advanced boogie. Here comes rock and roll surf bass. So that again starts with the notes of the C chord, take away the middle note, and we're going to use these outer 2 notes, the 1 and the 5 of the chord. Then we're going to move the 5 up to 6 and use the 1 and the 6. And we're going to alternate between those 2. And again, I'm using bad fingering to show you the keys. 5, 6, 5, 6, 5. So the C plays with everything all the time. So again, since we're adding a 6 here, you can add that 6 in the right hand chord as well. Yeah. Okay, so that's the rock and roll surf bass. 1, 5, 1, 6. Another step beyond that is called the elephant bass line, and again that uses the 1 and the 5 of the chord. It plays those twice, slides from the half step below the middle note up to the middle note of the chord, the 3, and then it repeats. Slide to 3, slide to 3, and again your right hand can fill with C chord notes. Outer 2, slide to 3, outer 2, slide to 3. So really, it's easier to do these kind of bass patterns if you're thinking, oh, the outer 2 notes of the C chord slide into the middle, as opposed to thinking the individual notes out of context. So those are some basic bass patterns that you can start playing around with.